War.
Love is a crazy thing.
Hmm. Indeed.
War. What is it good for? Absolutely no.
I was kind of expecting the Fallout reference. War. War never changes.
War never changes. Oh, I got halfway there.
Although that's still a really good song,
Actually,
though. Hello, welcome to Metaverse Degen. I'm Lion.
I'm Void23.
Thank you very much for joining us. And also, heads up, Raptor is not with us today. Thunder is still excited upon this time entering. He's taking a nap, actually. Thank you for joining us, Void. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure being able to speak with you.
Thank you. It's awesome to be here.
So what is it you do here in VRChat and the internet?
Well, I TikTok videos, little shorts, little skits. I go review worlds. I mostly enjoy going to clubs, you know. I think that's generally what I do.
Okay. Perfectly fine. So what got you into creating TikToks and world hopping and stuff of that nature?
To making TikToks, I'd say two of my buddies, I think you know them. It's Dragonbutt and Show. They've been my biggest inspiration, honestly. You know.
Oh.
They've been helping me out with lots of stuff, ranging from avatar making to content making, give me advice. You know, it for sure I probably wouldn't have been in it. Going to clubs has definitely been something I like to do. I do it in real life, so I thought, you know, why not VRChat? You know, why not do it as something that I like to be in a game?
Okay. Fair enough. So what got you into VRChat and VR and all of that?
Originally would be my friend Show. I would say he's what, I guess no, that's not true. He got me in here longer, but what got me in here originally was seeing the vast communities on here. You know, like you have the Halo communities on here, you have furry communities, Warhammer communities, people who like going to clubs, people like listening to music, people like drinking, people who like generally different types of things. And that really interested me, you know, hearing about it the first time. And, you know, it definitely got me going on here.
Okay. Very interesting. So is there any of those communities you partake in yourself?
I used to do Warhammer RP server stuff and Clone Wars stuff. Like Star Wars themed stuff. But now I just partake in club events, party events, music events, just anything related to just socialing.
Okay. What got you into the RP community then initially?
My friend, actually this one's kind of, I guess, a little funny story. I was originally a questie, and I was chilling in a Star Wars world that had a bunch of avatars shown. And a person came out to me who was a recruiter for a Clone Wars group. And they're like, hey, would you like to join this for recruiting for people to join and stuff? I'm like, why not? You know, I joined, and eventually it led up to me going into this huge spread of things, like from Warhammer to Star Wars to Halo to all these different communities. Never thought about that one conversation. Me and him are still friends to this day. That was this tiny little conversation.
Isn't it funny how in VR you'll have one conversation with a person, and the next thing you know, you're off on some grand adventure doing some wild things you never thought possible.
Yeah, no, it's honestly, it still amazes me to this day about it. Just like a small conversation probably can affect my life like that much. I went from just chilling on random worlds to meeting so many new people, strictly just for joining this one event.
Wow. Well, that's the beauty of VRChat, is all it takes is one little person to take you down a rabbit hole of fun and awesomeness. So many things to see here too.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'd say my favorite thing to see here has always been the worlds, like, and the amazing artwork people can create here. You know, avatars, drawings, world making, and all of it. I mean, like, this world is a perfect example of it. I mean, it's beautiful.
It is an amazing world. I like the fantasy aspects you have of this. When you look
Yeah.
around, hold on, see the. I don't think this camera perspective will get it for you that well, but the amazing fantasy thing here. And have you ever seen any Dr. Morrow's worlds?
Dr. Morrow's?
Epilogue.
The name sounds familiar. Can you name me a world?
You know the Epilogue series?
Yes, I've been to that world. Yeah, I love that world. That world's actually how I came to another friend of mine. And I like that world a lot, especially because the fact that there's Russian traces, and I'm Russian myself, so it was nice to get like a little welcome home feeling towards it. And I like the little, like I don't know what the word is. I'd say, I wouldn't say the word vibe, but I guess trance of a story kind of gives you.
You know, I've always wondered what kind of story that told. I've heard a lot of people tell me the world got spawned from his dreams, and I wonder if that's the case, or is it like some other story he's trying to tell you?
I think it's more about perspective on the story, because I heard people show the world itself, all the places and stuff, are images from real life areas in Russia. And I always thought the world was in the second part of the world, at least. I forgot the name of the second part, but you see a story about a family, and you see like a school, you see a home with where would be a family sitting, and you see what I think it's an accident happened or something, because you hear a car crashing sound. And you see a figure of a man kind of wandering away. So I figure that's what it kind of implies to me. I think it's more of perspective too.
That is real interesting that you put it in perspective like that, because I never looked into it like that. I just enjoy the abstract nature of the whole world. When you start in a hospital, and then you go forward and you're like outside an apartment complex, and you go further into it, and then you're in some abstract apartment, and you go down a hole and you're somewhere else entirely. It's an amazing, beautiful piece of art.
Yeah. I think it's just a way of its portraying a story. It's what makes it like the most beautiful, right? The way how you can tell from different point of views, rather than just being as a linear path. You know, there's many paths you can take, but none are really the truest.
That is a very good point. A lot of the worlds, when I thought personally, I like when you in a world like, let's use like this one or Dr. Morris, like we just talked about. When you go into them, you could see all the thought process they put into it, because it's not like when you write things down like an article or a handwritten story where it's very straightforward what they're trying to tell you, versus like a world like this or Dr. Morrow's. They had to put a lot of thought process in where things went, what kind of story is behind it, if there is one, how does location matter between each spot. And you could see into the mind just a little bit of each person, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like, you know, there was the phrase, the art isn't typically the it's not the pathway to the soul, but I guess it's like the window to the soul. I think that's the phrase. You know, I tend to think that world making is a way of artwork, just in general.
I've always very much appreciated the skill level of a lot of the VRChat world builders and avatar builders and the artists in here, because I don't have that kind of technical ability, but I can enjoy what they've made. And holy crap, like the world we're in now, like it looks amazing. And if you go out into like the regular VR titles, nothing compares to some of the stuff you have in here. Almost nothing.
Yeah. It's like his own little, I guess, just really his own universe, just where everything is just presented in his own beauty. You know, like recently I went to a world where it was I don't remember what the phrase in the genre would be called. It's like it's not body horror, but it's like the opposite of body horror. But it was like uh, it was some sort of described the worlds in just an interesting way that, or how they're placed, how the items are placed. They're always placed in a very artistic way, and each had like their own defining meanings. They always show like these beautiful like layouts, like how beauty isn't always just in bright lights or different shapes, but it can also be through simple mountains or through cities, through like worlds like cyberpunk. There's cyberpunk themed worlds out there. There's worlds themed after like grim fantasies, or worlds just themed around like a classic nature theme. It's always those really, I feel like, bring out the beauty in VR chat.
There's a lot of those. And even some of the abstract ones, like there's this one world I've mentioned before, but not in this video, but it's like, have you ever seen the abstract painting where it's like a set of staircases? And you'll see like, it's like they're facing different directions, upside down, right side up, sideways, angles and stuff of that nature.
Yeah.
There's a world sort of like that functions the way that looks like it should, the painting should function. You'll enter, it's like a cave, cement cave look. And on your left is like a little inlet, like a caved inlet that has like some mushrooms and plants. And you go forward in through a doorway or a waterfall-esque thing. And you push your way through, and then your perspective will flip. And when you look up at spawn, you'll see upside down. Well, you're upside down and they're right side up. But you can look at them the way that is, and you can walk around, and it moves particularly depending on where you go.
Yeah, I like that.
I love worlds like that.
Yeah, no, I love those worlds. There was actually a club world that me and my friends used to go to. We didn't make it, but one of my friends were buddies with the owner of it, and it was this world that always changes per theme of a season, like for its Halloween, Christmas, but the entrance always remains the same, and it's this hallway that just is like a spiral, like almost an illusional spiral, and it twists and turns as you through it. I love stuff like that. That's like my, I don't know, my dessert, I guess. It's my sweetness. I love it.
Abstract stuff like that is why I think VR can definitely shine, especially since it's not like you're looking at a painting and it's just 2D. When you're in a world and you can walk through and your perspective changes as it spirals or whatever the builder designs it to, it feels very natural.
Yeah. I like. I think that's just kind of like coolness about VR. I mean, obviously we can't make worlds like or buildings like these in real life because obviously it's lots of
physics is a thing.
Yeah. To experience these worlds from our own perspective in a way, and to see like to experience like the whole the transitioning thing, like you were talking about, how like it goes upside down and we see it, we're going upside down as well, or we see spirals turning as we walk forward. It always kind of amazes me, right? Because we're getting to feel something or witness something that can never be possible in real life, which is obviously the main theme of VR. But it's just, I have never seen anything like that in other VR formats or other VR format games, I guess.
Yeah, most VR games I've noticed either are a regular video game in VR, like for example Half-Life Alyx. So you'd expect a typical PC game to be just with a headset on your face. Very well done though. Amazing game. If anyone hasn't played it, I would suggest it. And then there's
very good
the indie world, which is amazing because they're experimenting with a bunch of stuff, though it's not like AAA quality, although that's kind of the point of indie. And then there's the music genre, which does real well in VR, which is like Beat Saber, Super Hot, stuff of that nature that also is very popular here.
I love what was it, Beat Saber. Me and my friends played a lot, and that's kind of like the reason why I like going to club worlds on VR chat, mostly because there's There's several reasons, but my main three reasons are the first one being I can go to a club as this guy, or as, I guess, a Spartan, Space Marine, or as generally anything I want, which is something you can't do in real life. Because I mean, can you imagine going to a club in real life with a full set of armor? And be weird. But the second reason being is that I get to experience kind of like similar to like indie games. These little indie developers of music, the smaller DJs, get to experience post their own music, and get to listen to music that you never would hear before. Thanks to this game, thanks to the clubs I go to, I've been hearing music that I never would have thought of giving a chance, and now I'm giving it, and I love it. I'm really happy I gave it a chance. And the reason most of the worlds I go to have these amazing, I guess, auras with them, vibes, or they have these amazing light shows, these amazing themes. Like one was like this underground like train station. Another one was this amazing like little light show area where the light was reflecting, as if like you're in a real life dark room. There was one that was a holographic light show I saw a while back. It was very amazing.
So I take it you hop to a bunch of different clubs then?
Yeah, I mostly go with my friend Dragon and some of our other friends. But we just generally, if the vibe is good, we go there no matter what. It's any type of music genre or any club that's out there, we probably would have checked it out.
Okay. What are some of your guys' favorites from your club hopping in VR?
I think my favorite was the Compound or PHQ. Well, PHQ is a little biased because a couple of my friends are DJs there, or yeah. Another one that's kind of a newish one that's kind of different form, where it is owned and DJed by a bunch of my friends, Echo and Devo. It's called Obsidian, and that one, they're my favorite DJs all around, and they play wonderful music. Echo plays mid-tempo, and they like to play different type of styles of music, and their vibe is always black and red, and I know those colors are very I guess I don't want to use the word cliched, but I like the theme that they have, black and red, there's a lot of themes. It goes really well with the music they play, and it kind of like sprouts together like a little nice creation.
Okay. That's pretty awesome. So I'm going to ask you another question, kind of backtracking a bunch. What kind of content do you make on TikTok?
I do skits, funny little things. Or just funny moments to do with my friends. Or I do, I guess, many showcases for my armor. I mostly do Destiny themed armor. I do, because Destiny and Halo and Warhammer are kind of like my main thing I like. Also Star Wars. So just space fantasy is like I said earlier, that's my dessert. I love it. I like to showcase most of my Destiny fashion as well as my Warhammer fashion. So that, and also just making fun little skits, fun little stories. I'm actually starting to write I guess, somewhat of a series, I guess, about a story of a character I'm creating, dealing with trauma of losing a family through the story I'm creating. Yeah.
Okay. And how did that whole writing of the story begin? Like, what led to that sprouting out?
I would partially through experiences, I guess. Yeah, I had points in my life where I had to experience some sort of trauma like that, and I guess I used this story as a way to explain my experience, while also, I guess, making a narrative. I guess I'm not really sure how else to explain that.
No, I very much understand what you're saying, and some of the best stories has root in reality a lot of the time. Like even some of the timeless classics written that we all know and love have some variation of reality mixed in with it. Like it definitely makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. Hmm.
Uh, I also had I also do streaming content as well. Like I do Twitch, Kick. I also do YouTube, but mostly it's just more of my gaming, like games I play, or um, generally just funny moments to do with my friends.
Okay.
Generally on TikTok though, I just produce just stories that I'm planning on creating, or just showcases of my own armor, or just as well as funny moments with my buddies and I. I like to keep it where I guess real with what I'm producing. You know, where it's just with me and my friends.
Mm.
So it's a moment I can share with the people who like to enjoy those moments.
Mm.
Because if I'm having fun with it, I would like for other people to enjoy as well.
Okay. That's a very amazing thing, an authentic thing to do, and I wish you the best with that and hope it sprouts off and to be something that you enjoy even more.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, this character you're in, is this something you've made yourself? And the armor as well?
Yes. The armor and armor was personally made by me. I have another set of armor that was commissioned by a person called Silly, and I have another set of armor that was made by a good friend of mine named Gamma. Yeah.
Okay.
And I guess I just make all my stories around all that, just around armors that I made or my friends made with me.
Okay. So this armor you're in, what's the story behind that one?
So this one is essentially part of, this guy is the main character of, I guess, the story I'm creating. Essentially the world I created was a very influenceable man in the world, in his universe. And there was a bit of corruption in this government that he works with. Due to his influence, the corruption wanted him out, so that way they had more control over the society that they were trying to maintain. So they sent in a somewhat mercenary group to rid of him. Instead, they made the unfortunate mistake of ridding him of his family, which this caused him to result in this essentially dark turn. He went from this very positive man who a lot of people looked up to a man who has nothing left to lose, desperate, only fueled by rage. He changes his armor, he changes his look, shatters his weapon upon a new life for vengeance. And over this time in the story, it's going to be him experiencing people reminding him that this is not what he is. He's a man of honor, a man of love, not a man of murder, not a man of vengeance. This is not who he is, basically. And he overcomes this and eventually gains some sort of conflict of, should I forgive, become the man who I used to be, or should I just continue this to avenge those who I lost? There's gonna be some more twists in there, but that's basically the oversimplification of it. I don't want to say too much,
Oh no, I very much understand, and that sounds like a very well written story, and I would love to see where it goes personally. What sparked the interest for that story specifically? What made you want to write that as the story?
I'd say a bit with most fictions though, but I'd say the biggest one that reminds me, I felt like the axe might give it away, is God of War originally with Kratos. With his, he lost his family, he wanted vengeance, he was willing to slaughter an entire pantheon to avenge his daughter and wife. And I really liked the meaning behind it, because everyone was basically constantly telling him, hey man, this is not you, and in the current game, or I guess the most recent game, the recent game that came out, which was Ragnarok, was basically, everyone saying, this is not who you are, you become better, don't let this happen again, and I really fell in love with the concept of that, I'm a big fan of revenge stories.
Mm.
You know, people who've been wronged given the chance to undo the wrongings or become better from it. The conflict of that really interests me, because who do you root for though, right? In the end, do you root for the guy to murder the person who wronged him, kill the, punish those who wronged him, or do you root for the guy to forgive and learn to live better from it?
Hmm.
I feel like it kind of gives that conflict there.
So that in and of itself is a very determined on each person perspective, and it's a very much a classic story. Are you the kind of person that wants revenge and gore, or you want honesty and honor? I guess that all depends on the viewer, I guess. Classic one though.
Yeah. I know there's lots of people there who are very there's optimists and then pessimists. Pessimists tend to take a look at it like, hey, I want payback. They hurt me, I want to hurt them. Optimistic tend to look at it, they hurt me, I can learn better from this so that this never happened. Two both very valid options, but both very different options. But not the same, but both have good meaning. But there's always a repercussion for these happening. With one, I guess you can call it the optimistic route. If you don't go for the person who wronged you and you learn to live better from it, sure, you have moved on from it. Sure, you have learned to maintain this facade that you're having, but the corruption is still there. Those who wronged you will continue to do so. But if you choose to punish those who wronged you, you go out on this path and become the thing that you never want to become. You essentially ruin what you were, and you will never become happy. So you stop the corruption, but you essentially become the one thing you never wanted to become. Just either inhuman, or a murderer, a monster, whatever you want to refer it as.
That reminds me of a quote I've read. I believe it was a comic book that wrote it. Let me know where it's from, because I'm being dopey. But the quote is as follows: either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain.
Yeah, that quote is basically the best way to summarize how the story will be going, I guess. I mean, I suppose I get a mental feel from it, where if the way how I see it, but I feel like with most people is, if I were in those shoes, if I was in the situation of the character, what would I do? That's what I'll try to give off with my stories. And I guess the main outcome be, for me, I guess, it's always going to be to embrace the outcome, which would be me taking care of those who wronged me. Or at least that's the story I'm trying to project at the moment. Those who wronged should be punished. But to punish all of those wronged, would you become what you always wanted to never become, or would you just become worse? That's generally the situation that always comes around. You can't always be a hero, because if you always play as the good guy, things walked over. That's, I guess, the general vibe of those type of quotes in the story, which I agree with. Sometimes you have to be a bad guy, and that's okay for some cases.
Well, in terms of stories, it's good to see non-traditional endings, because normally when you watch a movie or a TV show, hero gets wronged, hero does great, hero wins in the end, everything's happy. It is good to see the opposite as well in stories, because you get to see both sides of the coin, I guess is a way to speak.
Yeah, I personally, I do like happy endings, but I'm also like, I guess I'm a 50-50. I'm a coin. I like tragic stories, I like tragic endings. I like happy endings. I like good endings. But I like endings that give you more of a moral compass or conflict. One side is valid, the other side is valid. I think stories that make it feel like you yourself are so invested that you don't know which side you want to be on, because they both have valid points, is good. I think a good example of what I was referring to, it was a very old thing, and I doubt it's relevant nowadays, but it was back when the original Star Wars trilogies was released. There was an original ending was for Luke Skywalker to turn to the dark side, believe it or not. He would strike down Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader, and he would turn. You would see in the end of the movie his eyes would turn red, like Sith do. And I thought that was kind of like a bittersweet ending, if they did do that. I liked it because it seemed interesting. It makes sense for a guy to essentially be pushed, because that was the main input of the movie. The Palpatine and Darth Vader were trying to push Luke Skywalker to become a Sith to the dark side, and I felt like with that mental torture, he would have become one, and it would have kind of been a justified ending. Sure, he stops the corruption, but he becomes one. I feel like those things have more meaning than just the traditional, hero is happy because he saved the day, or hero got stabbed in the back and he lost, evil runs. I just think the idea of the fact that sometimes, like, was the yin and yang, right? Good and evil and good. That mindset really can flesh out a character when you put it into a character.
Indeed. Thing with most stories is, especially ones where, like, for example, the Star Wars reference you've made, not every outcome that is possible is a good one. Sometimes a lot of those stories are handwritten, handpicked to end a certain way because of the hero storyline that sells the best, instead of what realistically in that universe what would have happened. One altered ending that I noticed personally in the Marvel universe, in fact, is actually with the movies with Thanos in it, the Gauntlet. Did you know why in the comics that Thanos went on the tirade he did?
For his love was death. He, I guess, wanted to prove death, something like it was. I believe that she requested him to kill half of all life in the universe, and then they'll be together. I think it was generally. Oh, my tracking. There you go.
Yeah, he wanted to. It wasn't for balance in the universe like Marvel said in the movies. It was for to give death enough souls to work their way to a relationship. Although then Deadpool's also involved in that storyline, and they didn't show that too much. There's a whole bunch of wonky stuff. But in general, that story is altered greatly to give a specific outcome that is pushed in a certain narrative. I like seeing ones that don't follow tradition, I guess.
I know for that, they had to make Thanos a bit more reasonable, I guess. Because I guess Marvel wanted to make him have that more conflict. Yeah, I'm doing this to help the universe, and like, well, I personally like the traditional Thanos where he's like in that aspect, because sometimes it's refreshing to have just an objective bad guy. Like it's nice to have a moral conflict villain where, like, yeah, he's doing this because he wants revenge, he's doing it because he wants to make the world a better place, trying to help people. But sometimes it's always nice to have a bad guy who's just a bad guy. And I like that about the comics. Well, I still liked him in the movies, in the MCU. I thought he was really cool in there. The part that I didn't like about Thanos in the comics too, I liked him, but there's one part I didn't like, was the fact that he did it all girl.
Well, to be honest, that's more based on reality, what would happen. Look how often in reality people have done some horrendous things for the sake of love.
Yeah.
Like I guarantee, like, for example, one of my ex's dads, I won't give names, got arrested because of that very scenario. And that is a very common thing all throughout reality. So in terms of like a realistic, moralistic thing, at least from like half the population, I guess is a way to put it, most people will do a lot of things because they met a girl. Quote, encourage a cowardly dog. The things I do for love.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like that's just the love aspect of humanity. People do things for people they love. Parents do things for their kids do things for their parents. Boyfriends do something for their girlfriends, husbands do something for their wives do something for their husbands, girlfriends do something for their boyfriends. I think it's just that protective nature that people have. Like Courage the Cowardly Dog, he does what he can for love because he loves her name, a lady.
The funny
people
thing
do what they do, and I
you continue. Mine's, as I say, I don't remember the name of the woman either. I think it started with an A. Never mind, ignore me.
I start with an M. Oh man, we're at a tide.
Let us know down there what it is, because we're both kind of being dumb at the moment. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. I thought that aspect of people, it's nice, because it shows that, hey, we love each other. I care about you care about me, we help each other out, and I would do the same, for my partner. When it comes down to it, I would help her out whenever it's time for it. And I respect people who do that. As those who don't or aren't willing to help their partners, the ones that are, in my opinion, the scary ones.
Although, like Thanos in the MCU comic books, sometimes that very nature can go very, very wrong.
Very wrong.
I'm going to use a very drastic example because why not? It's fun. Let's say someone fallen in love with an internet personality and they're stalking them and they want to rid them of a problem because maybe they at one point jokingly did, oh, won't someone rid me of this priest? Then off the stalker went because they loved them and want to be with them, so they ended the person. I'm sure that's happened somewhere. Similar to the whole thing there. Thanos loved death. In order to be with her, he went through an entire tirade, getting a gauntlet, and then snapping half the population out of existence, simply out of love.
There's also, twisted love is the phrase, I think. But there's a game about it. Was it Yandere Simulator? No one really talks about that game nowadays because of that issue with the dev. But twisted love is also a very big issue. People do a lot for love, and people were willing to risk a lot for love. And that's a problem too. It's a solution, but it's also a problem.
There's got to come a point of
love is dangerous.
It is. You're right. It is very dangerous. It is one of the few things that has moved humanity, arguably, through most of our existence. Although sometimes,
no, it definitely is. Love is a crazy thing.
Indeed.
What is it good for? Absolutely no.
I was kind of expecting the Fallout reference. War never changes.
War never changes. I got halfway there.
Although that's still a really good song,
actually,
though.
I was actually working on a Fallout Abby myself because I'm also an avid Fallout fan. As much as I do love space fantasy, I love post-apocalypse stories. Stories like that are always an interest to me because what we always think about it. Everyone thinks about it. What would we do if humanity just collapsed? Our governments collapsed. What do we do? Well, I tell you what we do. Probably not shoot nukes at each other, hopefully, but but it's always an interesting. I always love stories that kind of portray something that we never will hopefully experience. Cross your fingers here. Hopefully.
Indeed.
It's always nice to see stuff like that.
Fallout's also a very unique post-apocalyptic story of how they went, especially with the offshoot of the 50s, where instead of the modern computer tech we have, they went the nuclear fission route, where your cars are nuclear fission, your computers nuclear fission, everything's run that way. They have robots and stuff. And then The
with
very
nuclear fission.
also run by nuclear fission. Very good idea. Like when you shoot most of those cars, they most definitely don't explode.
Our waters are slightly irradiated. Don't worry, just slightly, just a tiny bit.
Definitely.
I mean, power armor's always been my interest thing.
Mm,
Power armor's always been my favorite because of the fact that if it is an obvious armor, I like bulky armor. And that's why this kind of like a, I guess, a one side thing, or I guess I'm not sure it's political, but it's a political in the gaming community. Lots of people feel 50-50 with it. So I'm kind of curious on your thought on this. Lots of people like the current modern power armor system, which is the big bulky stuff. Some people, or a lot of people, prefer the original power armor, where you just put it on like clothing. I personally like the big bulky stuff because when you think of power armor, you think of something big, something powerful, something makes you feel stronger. And I like what it does. You feel the ground shake with every step you do. If you jump, you feel like a mini earthquake. When you punch something, you punch it really hard. You feel like you have the strength of 20 men. I like that. That's cool. And I feel like they really, really influenced it a lot with the current Fallouts. I mean, those two Fallouts are also currently going through like their own little heyday right now, but Fallout 4 and 76 have a place for power armor because of that.
I honestly do like the bulky power armor versus the very thin, tight-knit stuff. Because as you said, you feel a lot more powerful in the suit of armor when you wear it. With like how big it is, as you said, the HUD, the fact that you fit inside of it like an Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
It's the whole deal. It's
like a primitive little Iron Man armor.
Indeed. I also like in the Fallout 4 and 76 where you get to pull out the power core, then put it back in yourself. That's sick.
Yeah, no, that was my favorite thing. And I like, now people also argue this about Fallout 4 when you get your first set of power armor, it's a scripted event. I don't care. I thought it was cool. You get a minigun and you 1v1 Deathclaw. I mean, that's cool. I mean, there's not that many games where you get, there's not that many moments in games where you get a cool badass moment like that. You just grab a gun, start gunning down anything you see.
Even though I like the power armor in Fallout 4, that beginning scene, I never liked using the armor. I would get into it to move the story and then immediately hop out, and I would like grab a shotgun or a pistol and just go guns blazing like a stupid idiot running at the Deathclaw like an absolute madman, and somehow make it through by sheer dumb luck.
That's the power of Fallout. You can go about it your way. If you want to go about a stealthy way, gun nut way, just with a random shovel, you can. You want to go in as a tank? You can. You want to go in with a Fat Man rocket launcher? Shit, you can.
One thing in Fallout 4 I personally love and always will: grenades and explosives. They did that so well, in my opinion. Like a lot like the armor, you feel powerful using it. Especially with like the Fat Man MIRV system where you fire it and you see the 6 missiles go out, then you watch them drop from the sky. Oh, it's so great.
Yeah. It's a great show at the end too. You gotta watch a little firework. Or I guess a lot of fireworks. And that's my general feel of bulky armor. That's also the reason why I fell in love with Warhammer 40k and Halo and Destiny and Star Wars. Because like obviously Warhammer with Space Marines, you get giant bulky armor dudes walking around. Like elves, Tal, whatever you want to call them. You see them and they just steamroll them. I'm always a big fan of that. Believe it or not, if it isn't obvious, I like playing the tank in most games too. But it's definitely something I like. Well, I hope it's not obvious.
It's not the giant suit of armor on you. That definitely doesn't give it away. I like what I like, and there's nothing
obviously
wrong with that.
heavy armor is always gonna be cool to me. It's the reason why Iron Man was cool to me. It's the reason why I can't remember the name. I think his name is Ironmonger, the Iron Man villain in the first movie. That was cool. I like Buster. I like Master Chief's armor. I don't know if you ever watched this, but it's a great show. Or it's a great little mini watch. It's called Halo Legends. It's a little movie. It shows you different little short stories. There's an armor set on there that was the first prototype for the armor that Spartans wear. And It was a big bulky suit with like jetpacks, minigun rotary cannon, rocket launchers on the side, and it was like fending off multiple armies of the Covenant, the alien armies in the game. And it was just and you was controlling it just some ordinary Marine. And the armor would have still been relevant nowadays if it weren't for the fact that Marine use it to have a self-destruct sequence. So it has a built-in bomb in it, which is crazy. So the guy just started fighting off armies of aliens, right? Manhandling them, steamrolling them, and then just as he's about to lose, he takes them all with him. And you know what? If that's not the life of a tank, I don't know what is.
You know, I don't know if you know this bit of the lore of the Spartan armor too from Halo. Do you know that those Spartan armors are so heavy they have to genetically modify the Spartans to be able to fit it? If you're sticking a normal human in there, it would break them. It is so
yeah.
heavy.
No, they actually showcased that in Halo Legends and the Halo Fall of Reach. They showcase it's actually really gruesome. So if you have a fan of horror, I would not recommend watching it. But basically, it's easiest way to explain it with just my arm as an example here. Just end up like that. Not a pretty sight. But it's also the reason why I like Destiny, my favorite class. If you guys don't know, Destiny, I don't know if you do. But Destiny has the 3 classes. There's Hunter, Warlock, and Titan. Again, it's obvious I'm playing Titan. This is in fact a Destiny Titan. The reason I like them is that their armor is also super heavy. In fact, when an average human, it took 10 men to lift the helmet, and when one of the humans tried putting it on, which I don't know why, this was in their lore, and I don't know why. And because if I was in this universe, I saw 10 men were lifting the helmet, I would not be the one putting it on. But this guy put it on, and his spine snapped. His skull was caved in, and I was like, "Oh, damn, that's heavy armor. That's heavy armor." So, and like, obviously you don't see hunters and warlocks wearing it because warlocks are in Destiny are like the brains. They deal magic and stuff, spells, voodoo and stuff. Hunters are wearing light armor, cloth even, where they kind of stealthy go around the area, or they're really quick-footed, so they wear light armor to kind of dodge and do maneuvers. While Titans, they're strong guys. They're super abilities. You can throw a hammer. You can punch something really hard. You can punch something while flying. You can throw a really big hammer, or now the new power is coming out in the most recent update in the game. You can throw an axe, a really heavy axe. So Titan supers are just all around about strength and punching, and that's what I respect about it. It seems simple, but I like it.
Hot take here: hunters are better. I've always when I play Destiny 1 and 2, the deck space maneuverable hunters is how I played. I would use the three triple jump. I would be moving as fast as I can, redirecting quickly. My favorite playstyle in Destiny. Better.
You see, I would agree with that. I used to be, believe it or not, I used to be a hunter main back in the olden days of Destiny when I first played. I'm a Titan main now because of, I think over the years, I mean, because Destiny was relevant back in like 2013, 2014. So, I had a lot of time from now to then, lots of time to grasp what I'm doing and what I like. And I definitely fell in love with being tanky, guys. Personally, I just like, I like what Titans are capable. Obviously, there's a difference between the 3 classes. You got hunters being DPS, being quick-footed, perfect clears. You got warlocks, amazing support, also ability to do DPS, and also how to do ad clearing. But with Titans, it just feels more fluid for me. You got the ability to smash the ground with amazing lightning strike, that could rival Thor. You got the hammer, or as hot as the sun. You can meet. You can pull up ice strands out of your fist and create literal glaciers. You can pull up these little claws out of your fist with strands and kind of weave out of existence. Or bubble.
Bubble. Yeah. I was playfully starting an argument with you. I wasn't trying to be aggressive or anything. I very much
got it.
enjoyed Destiny 2. I've played all the classes. I've always mained a hunter, though. The void bow I enjoy using. Some people are going to call me an idiot for that, but I don't care. And the Titan was fun, but I felt at home in the hunter class. One of the few I
think
enjoyed
it's
the
just
most.
like similar to like VRchat with Destiny. It has this beauty where it kind of has its it has its ups and downs with the community.
Mhm.
But it has its own like once you found the thing, it's about experimenting. You play things you like, play weapons you don't like.
Mm.
You know, personally, me, I'm not a big fan of bows and glaives. Those are the new weapons they added through the course of the game.
Mm.
But you know, you got to experience all these new weapons and stuff, these new classes. You get to experience which one is your preferred thing. Like I like playing Warlock and Hunter. I think they're really fun too. But for me, I feel at home with Titan. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's a part of Destiny's magic. You play as what you like, and that's how it
Mm.
should always be.
You're too wholesome. I was trying to start a playful gamer argument, and you're just too wholesome for this planet.
I don't know about that. Telling the guy with this face that you're too wholesome has little
To be
teeth
fair,
coming
I've
out.
seen metalheads who look very aggressive are the most sweetest people you'll ever meet. Big dudes,
Man, I'm
tattoos,
a metalhead.
piercings all over their body, constant resting bitch face like they're gonna murder somebody. And as soon as they see a cat or a little child, it's just right off the bat. So just because you look tough doesn't mean you're necessarily that way.
You have to be tough. Yeah, I understand that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm also a metalhead, so that's why I'm like, oh wow, damn, I'm getting called out.
To be fair, I'm also a metalhead. That stuff's great. Hmm. Okay. Favorite band?
Favorite band?
Hmm.
Oh man. Okay, so now that kind of goes into different depending on the day and the week for me. Me, because some days I'm not just straight up on always metal. I used to be metalhead, but up to the given with the people I hang out with now, it was Dragonbud and Cho. Well, Cho I'd known for a while, but Dragonbud, she's introduced me to all these different music groups and these clubs I would visit, and she kind of like took me away from being a metalhead. But I might be a classic here. Might be me pulling some stuff and saying, you know, little lame and saying AC/DC and Metallica. You know, I can't go wrong with some classics. But I'd say definitely has changed since then being a metalhead, because I fell in love with now. Ironically, I fell in love with I say personally the complete opposite of metal, which is I fell in love with jazz.
Although they're not too far off, because metal has roots in old school jazz, because the whole like rebellious spirit and everything in that nature of the music started with jazz, and eventually over time metal grew out of it.
That's true. At one point, jazz was the metal of this time period.
Crazy.
But I also like pop has also been really good. I said mid-tempo has kind of been like the new thing for me right now. Mid-tempo music has always been my thing, but I remember the times when I used to be in anything metal related. That was definitely a time. Me then and me now are two different people, because I used to be a lot more I guess not, I wouldn't use the word aggressive, but I guess more active and more all over the place, and now I'm definitely more similar with calmer music. I guess music does make the person.
Well, the kind of media you take in will mold you as a person. As they say, eyes are the window of the soul, and so are the ears. If you think about it, what you take in for media, whether it's videos on YouTube, the music you listen to, the kind of podcasts you listen to, whatever it is you choose to intake for entertainment, will create and mold you as a person. If you listen to stuff that says other people are evil because of blah, 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 then that'll work its way into your personality. If you listen to smooth and fun stuff, that'll work into your personality, regardless of whatever it is.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. Information is key sometimes, and I am always the type of person to take in all sides when anything comes down.
Mm,
You know, when if one side says one thing, I want to hear what the other side says. So if one side says one side's evil, well, I gotta see what makes them evil, so I gotta go see what they're saying.
mm,
Because taking one person's view as a whole is things people do, but sometimes it's about like open your own eyes and seeing all the facts rather than just seeing the single.
I very much agree. Conversation is one of the things I think modern day is lacking a lot of. Even if you may not like the person or what they view, at least communicate with them and understand. If you learn nothing, at least you learn why they think the way they think.
Yeah. It's also about sometimes it's okay to argue, but it's most of the time when you argue, I feel like people should listen to listen and not listen to argue
Mm.
or to say. Because sometimes it's about educating, right? Sometimes you may not know, sometimes I may not know. There's things we can educate each other on. I mean, I'm sure there's things out there you know about, and there's some things I do know about, and some things you don't know about, and there's some things I don't know about. It's
Mm.
perfectly fine. It's as long as they do as a healthy way, as in like not throwing rocks and stones at each other. Then I'd say they're doing a great job.
Mm.
It actually was a it's always been a big iffy thing because given my old friend group I used to be part of, they were quite frankly split apart. Ironically, one half was furries and the other half was very Warhammer 40k dedicated, and there's some memes about that. I'm sure you might heard of them, like Space
Yeah,
Marines just
I've seen
purging
the
the Xenos.
videos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And if it isn't
Avenge me,
obvious
brother!
here, I mean, I'll show you if it isn't obvious, but I think it's pretty obvious which one I support.
Yeah, I've seen the videos. A friend of
um,
mine, Top Hat, showed me the video series. It's a cartoon, and it's like Space Marines versus furries, and
oh,
there's
yeah,
a
Flash
scene where,
Kids. Yeah.
yep, and then there's a scene where like a giant furry has a Space Marine, and you hear him yell, "Avenge me, brother!" And then,
Avenge me, brother! Avenge me!
Yeah.
I see. I think those are funny, but ironically enough, those videos started a war in the Warhammer 40k community, which is
Oh, really?
crazy to think about because people took it way too literal, as if like
Oh.
there's a genuine beef between furries and 40k people. I don't think that's true. I mean, my partner, she's a furry. I'm not, because I wear these to respect her and
Mm.
my friends who are, and there's not that there's anything wrong with them.
No.
I mean, I say that you're as human as I am. Um, I think those people who take it way too literal, they gotta take a chill pill.
Well, to be fair, every community
Like,
has
because
their people who take whatever it is
those,
they way too far. There are furries that think they're the actual
yeah,
animal, and then I'm sure there's 440k people who think they're actually Space Marines. It's just in every group.
yeah, yeah. And those people, I say they gotta take a chill pill or gotta wake up because it's I get out of hand sometimes because I've seen public worlds in VRChat, people invade them as Space Marines, waving around guns and stuff, bolters, and they either try their best to crash you and stuff. And I was like, oh, no, that's too much. That's, you see, I believe everyone should be allowed to have fun in a respectful manner, but never should we disable other people's abilities to enjoy their fun in said respectful manner.
That is
I feel like that line was crossed
mm,
when those people did it.
that is a really well put thing in VR chat. As you see, like even not just between Space Marines and furries, just between people in VR chat in general, like you'll see. I'll call them raid groups, I guess is a way to put them. The raid groups for worlds, they'll be in fur hub lobbies, they'll be in black hats, and then just go in to ruin your fun, whatever reason. Some of them may have good reasonings for it. Like, for example, I'm one of those people that talk with everyone the same as you, and I end up in a world full of one of these people. And one of the things, a specific group of people, I'm not heralding them as heroes because what they're doing is an ass move, but there's a specific type of person in VR chat that's also across the entire internet that prey a certain kind of player in VR. And they go after those people in lobbies.
Yeah.
Does it make it good? No. You're ruining people's fun because they nuke the whole lobby. But allowing people to have fun, I do agree. This is a game. It should be taken that seriously. But to the
Yeah,
exact same
it's a
point,
social platform.
indeed.
It's a social platform. We should share it with one another. I mean, I think this is what I was saying earlier. The reason what drew me to VR was its beauty, was the fact that all these communities, different, all the other. I mean, 40K furries, Halo, Star Wars, drinking communities, social communities, RP communities. All of them stretch so far and wide, and they can. It's like a melting pot. It's the only game where you can ever hear of a person conversation right now. Like, I'm a guardian talking to you and your avatar, while there's other people there who are probably sitting at a table with a space marine next to Am Smasher next to an anime girl. We're like, can you picture that in any other game? That's kind of cool, right? But it's the fact that it's possible is what shows the beauty of this game. Is the fact that we can all melt into one, greet each other, and talk to each other, and even learn things about our communities. I, for one, learned more about Warhammer and Halo and stuff because of VRchat, and I learned more about furry communities, about how like Protogen's lore, other Persona lores. It's nice to know about this stuff because it's just nice little tidbits, and it's good to know.
Indeed.
You know, it's nice to have this little melting pot. Like a healthier little America in a way.
Indeed, but global. You know, you saying that, one of the things that surprised me most is when I started VRchat, it's kind of black pilly. To be honest, I was like, life sucks. Everyone's hates each other. What's the point? And I come into VR and I met a bunch of furries. Shout out to you guys. You brought me some hope. And I saw two people from opposing political sides. Both of them are furries, left and right, arguing, and I kind of sat like, oh, yep, this is what I expected. But then afterwards, I had a drink and they're best friends. I was like, you never see that outside of this game.
Yeah.
Like, if you were to see people with opposing views, they would not be friends. They'd be throwing bricks and milkshakes and other stuff at each other.
And argue all day and night.
Indeed. But here, you saw people who disagree talk, hang out, be friends, crack open a beer, A-okay. And that brought me some hope, because I saw there is some progress that could be had upon people who disagree.
I'd say there's nothing wrong with a difference in opinion. Because you may believe in something different, I may believe in something different than what you believe in. That does not mean that we still can't be friends. You know, it's just beliefs. That does not defer our personality, what we like, what we do, who we are. It's different. So if you may believe in something different, does not define me and you personality in our relationship. For me, an example. Oh, don't worry about my legs; they do that.
It's okay. Mine do the same thing. Sometimes I look like an A or a V because my hip just decides to go off in a direction, kind of like yours is.
Yep. Let me just there you go. I'm just comfortable now.
Okay, fair enough. Hold on, I'll move the camera to be more down to your face.
Hello.
The
thing that I find interesting is just the fact that we could be different, and for me, an example that we all can be different, and we can all still converse and be friends with each other. I can be an example of that. Me and my partner, right? We're very different in IRL, in real life, and we're also different personality-wise. You know, I like the way they've shown this. I liked Autobots. She likes Decepticons, right? She likes light magic and stuff like that. I like dark magic in certain games. I like to play as the tank. She likes to play as the support. Just because we like different things does not define that we are different entirely, or we can't be friends. And obviously, we've shown that we become more than friends. That saying can be said for other people. Just because you believe in a certain political view does not define that we still can be humans and converse with each other. I feel like that's what a lot of people tend to forget. Behind that screen, we are still humans, right? We got these helmets or goggles, I guess. We're still human. So I feel like that's just the one thing people need to keep in mind whenever it comes down to stuff. Those people who kind of go out of their way to just rummage through people and try to make them feel like crap or harass them, I just feel like they're just kind of like furthering the narrative that other people of opposing sides can't be friends. It can happen, you know. it's perfectly fun.
Mm. It's one of the things that I saw in VR chat that kind of made me want to stay here. Brought me out of my own little funk is seeing people who disagree be friends, seeing people go out of their way to speak and learn about each other, even if one person's one way and the other's another. Whether you're a Titan or a hunter, regardless of whatever your views are, I've seen people speak and be friends and communicate and be perfectly fine. But then when you come out of the headset, it's not the case. This is like a weird little melting pot, I guess.
Yeah, that's exactly how I word it, is a melting pot. It is a people community just come down to it, and they see, again, as I was saying earlier, this is like the only game, also only social platform where you can ever see, like I said, a furry next to a guardian, next to a space marine, say next to a girl, and they're talking about, like, I don't know, anything really. I mean, there's the fact that they can. I mean, it's a crazy little spectacle in its own, but the fact that you can do it, and the fact that you can be friendly with each other is amazing.
Indeed. How would one explain to people who are not in VR chat that a SpongeBob, a Space Marine, a Halo Spartan, and Patrick are having a philosophical debate about ice cream? That's one of the hardest things to explain to people outside the headset, but it's also really fun to try.
I think that itself just proves just how awesome VR can be. I mean, just think about all the worlds you can go to too. I mean, memes aside, jokes aside, it's worlds, avatars, people really shows that this game, this community can be beautiful.
Indeed, it can be, and I can't wait to see the progress in the direction this place goes. I'm excited for it. It's what brought me here, the amazing nature of it. It's what had me stay, the people here.
I definitely see that there's going to be a good going forward with this. I definitely see there's still going to be some little tidbits in the road along the way, of course, but we're definitely going.
Indeed. Well, in terms of like the modern, let's call it a metaverse. I don't know what else to call it. I think VR chat's probably the best, most stable example we have to date. Like, there's so many other platforms out there. Chill Out, Resonate, they used to be Neos. Take your pick. Horizon Worlds. The only thing I don't see about them, I don't really look at them, is because they don't seem as stable as VR chat is. VR chat in itself could have more to it, but in terms of like a regular player base, it's always being updated. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Neos. And it's not trying to become some money generating thing. It's just allowing people to be people, which is what brings people here. It seems like the most stable thing out to date and has a place in history for wherever the metaverse goes from here.
Yeah, it really shows in what we can do. I'm hoping that VR chat definitely has some more additions towards I guess like menu capabilities. I guess I always was wondering if they would ever implement like a text system in this game, like I guess in a way, or a way to like induct Discord into it. You know, like it sounds a little special, I guess, but it meant like I guess it's a way to like further communication, you know. But I guess and that would kind of take away the chat from VR chat.
Indeed. Though I will give two other platforms in terms of that comment some kudos. Chill Out VR has a messaging system, so you can send messages to your friends. And then, of all places, Roblox has a call system built into it, or going to be built into it for VR. So you can call your friends within VR. That. I just learned about it recently. I thought, of all places, why is Roblox the one that's doing it? Why not places like VR Chat or Chill Out or fucking Neos? Roblox.
Roblox is on a different wavelength, apparently. They're ahead of us somehow. I mean, Roblox has been around for 2008, right? Maybe a little bit younger than that. They had a lot of growth since the time, so I mean, If they do it, they'd be on the right ball game.
Indeed. I was talking with some people who work with build worlds and stuff in VRchat, and in an unofficial sense, they were telling me Roblox's game engine, what they used for people to build in, apparently is really easy and amazing to work with and intuitive. Who knew?
Yeah, no. I mean, people can. I think Roblox is like its own Unity thing, right? Like it has its own Unity, it's not related to it. And from what I could tell, a lot of people are happy with the Unity as it is now. From who I spoke to, Shelby told them. So I feel like lots of people can totally do it. Lots of people can get into the world making business and also avatar making business. Or I guess business and doing it for their own self and making worlds to be happy with them, the creations they make.
I've heard a bunch of different takes of why people do worlds, and whatever it may be, I'm glad there are people out there making it, because the stuff out there is just amazing. All of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of worlds in here that really help explore that like different type of genre you could be interested in. Oh, like there's I mean generally there's a word for it. There's probably a word core with it, but like there's void core, there's grass core and stuff like that. But there's different types of just genre worlds that I find really interesting, like collapsed civilizations that you find, spaceship worlds where you just chilling in this spaceship and traversing the universe. Worlds that are like these abandoned neon 80s mall worlds, which I love those worlds a lot. They have their own beauty.
Indeed. You know, there's a genre I found in here, and what's one of my personal favorite genres to read in terms of story, but you don't see it often in VR. Lovecraftian. It does really well here in VR. And I'll give you two worlds. One is named Degen. It has like that New England coastline, a giant skyscraper-sized obelisk, black and white, and you have that weird feeling of the weird ominous feeling when you're in the world. The other one is the Nameless City, and it's in the middle of Egypt.
I've been to that one.
Really, it is an amazingly built world for 2022, and it definitely encapsulates the whole Lovecraftian vibe to it.
Yeah, they definitely have a lot of like imagination can go miles in this game. It really can show you like what you're capable of doing here.
Indeed.
I know there's a world that like I know the Half-Life community goes ham in this in this place. There's City 17, City 10, City 6, I remember all of them. But all of them have like active people in there, and there's also, not forget, like Hell of a Boss, they have like their own little world too. And each one of them have like their own like type of like little funk with it. You know, obviously you got like dystopia future with Half-Life, and you got like the hell theme for the Hell of a Boss world. You got obviously the Cthulhu type of vibes with the ones you were talking about. And there's the neopunk. There's so many different things. And said if there's a vibe for you that you like, probably already in here, and it's probably already a community for it.
Indeed. There's another world that has a roleplay community with it, but it's also kind of like a hangout group. Is the Afterlife from Cyberpunk. The person who made the world. There is a roleplay / hangout group that's associated with it, and they're always very active.
They are roleplay groups. I feel like are really interesting with what how many people are like active in them and like what they bring. Because not that many people, right? Like some people just think the word like LARPing, right? They think it's kind of weird, but you know, it's nice to do it every once in a while and portray the community. Lots of people on VR have their own OCs. They just never have the way to like interact with them, and I feel like they can totally do that now with this game. Like, you can get an avatar for it, you can pay for it, and boom.
The role play communities here in VRchat is one of the few things I wish I had more interaction with, because I haven't really seen or done a whole lot of it. I see their stuff everywhere. You see worlds dedicated to roleplay communities, whether Star Wars, Lovecraft, Cyberpunk. You'll see entire, like, even fantasy worlds, or you'll see portals everywhere. Like you will go through the story, you can see the story written out. There's a portal to another area that's also related. I wish to see more of it. I wish I could reach out and interact more. It's great just seeing all the stuff you guys do, especially with like the Star Wars community you've done. It is intense to see what that community does here.
Oh yeah, I love when I was part of it at the time. I just love seeing like these large scale combats we can do. Here, actually, I'll stand up. These large scale combats that people can do is super fun. I remember when it was super laggy at the time period, but it was like 20 people versus 20 people, all in these clone guns, just charging at each other in this open field. It's a thrill. You ever want to play Battlefield in real life? Well, you can with this game, and it was super fun seeing like you see guys on plane, or I guess I don't remember what the vehicle was at the time. It was so long ago, but it was you just see guys in these aerial vehicles flying by. You see people using guns trying to shoot each other. It was funny and chaotic, and is always just a fun memory to have at the time. And that's just what I think it is. It's just fun. People should enjoy themselves on here, and RP can help with that. There's always something for you to do in here, whether it's clubbing, going around towards different worlds you want to check out, sleeping, talking, experiencing new themes that you never would have thought about experiencing. You can do all that here. Also, different games you can play. I mean, I know Fate of the Erebos. I don't know if you ever played that game before.
I have not.
Fate
What
of
is
the
it?
Erebos, and it's called. It's kind of like a sim game, right? So you and 4 other people maintain a ship, and you go across the universe. You have the pilot, crewmate, weapon or gun ship guy, for the name of it, hacker, shield maintenance, and you 5 basically go across the universe, repairing, coming across different things, ranging from pirates, raiders, abyssal horrors in the wake of the space, and you just traverse the universe trying to find this treasure that you always wanted to find. Super fun to do. If you ever want to do it, I recommend going there with a group of friends, and it's super welcoming to like get into. It has kind of its own little beautiful little vibe we can give out, and it definitely can give you that one sense of thrill you can get from most games on VRChat, but it gives you a better experience. The guy who makes it is actually known for making a lot of other games that are kind of big deal. Worms Battleground, a little classic little game of like where you play as a worm, you shoot a rocket or the holy hand grenade, and you throw it at someone in the sandbox.
Yeah, I've played the worm games.
He made a game like that on a VRChat, except it uses your actual VRChat model as the worms.
I want to play this.
I thought that was really cool.
It's a blast to my childhood, man. Worms on PS1.
And plus, like going to the topic of games, there's a lot of games to get into in here. Going from like the classic murder games, obviously you can never forgo that, and also Among Us. But you got these games like Blackout, you got these games like Ghost Game, Infected, and they all stretch very thoroughly. And there's enough for games for you to have like at least a day while to enjoy with friends.
Indeed.
Oh, definitely something worth to give a look at.
Okay. Well, before we part ways, I would like to ask you a question, and it's one I ask a lot of people.
Yeah.
What was your first true VR chat experience? And I can give you an example of this. It actually involves Murder 4. I went into a lobby, and I didn't know what I was going to see. I wanted to know what Murder 4 was first week or so in. And the first thing I saw was a bunch of questies and eagle avatars moaning Oni-chan. It was the first thing I saw in a public instance of a world. And I noped the fuck out of there as fast as I could. As an example.
Okay, I don't think mine is that crazy. Definitely different. When I first got into the Black Cat, I loaded into the entrance where you see the desk, and there's a guy in a Stormtrooper avatar, a guy in a Halo avatar, and 2 guys, which I think were SCP outfits, shooting at each other. There was a guy in an elephant abbey kind of going around playing a trumpet. and on the stage, there's a guy dressed up as Freddy Fazbear trying his best to attempt to sing the song. For me, that was probably it. That was probably my VR chat experience. It was. I mean, like it was definitely showcasing you the least toxic Black Cat lobby, and that was it. It was a bunch of crazy stuff. I mean, that was just only half of it. There was people going on the roofs or on the upstairs levels of the Black Cat. They were having a weird karaoke night. Lots of people were singing Careless Whisper. There on the mirror side of it, there was people kind of starting the mirrors as per usual, and there was guys having a literal rock paper scissors match in the middle of like the entire thing. So yeah, no, you see a lot of crazy stuff right here. That probably was my first ever VR chat experience.
That sounds like a very more normal VR chat experience, but also very common.
If I tell you, look, if you tell me 6-8 years ago that at some point in time you'd be seeing what I just said to you, I'd probably call you a liar. I'll call you a liar if you tell me that. But you know, call me surprised when I saw that.
Well, at least you could say one thing in terms of VR chat. You'll always be left with a memorable experience here.
Yeah. Also, I get to meet fun groups too, so it works out.
Indeed. Now, is there anything you'd like to plug out there in the ether? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitch, Void23 VR, or _Twitch, sorry. Or you can find me on TikTok, being Void23 _VR. And on YouTube, Void23 _VR. Apparently, those are my things. You can find me on there.
Thank you very much again for coming to speak with us. It's been an absolute pleasure today.
It's been awesome.
Indeed. And I will leave you all with this. Down below, let us know your first VR chat experience. And if not, come in here and then let us know later. Just come back, go down in the comments, and let us know your very first VR chat experience. Whatever it may be. And I'm sorry for the knuckles and the e-girls and e-boys or mirror dwellers. Yeah. Oh boy.
Bye-bye.